Welcome back to another episode of Hikes and Walks. Today we're at the Shiloh National Military Park Corinth unit at the Confederate Siege Lines Trail. The Civil War Trail and Nature Trail, it's a little bit between 2 and 3 miles. I've heard different, this sign right here says it's going to be about 2.4, but I've seen some of it be 3.5. I don't know. So we're just going to wait and see how many miles we do today. Around between 2 and 3, I know for sure. But welcome back again. Thank you for joining me. This is outside of Corinth, Mississippi, and these siege lines are. This is like basically an old dirt road path that leads around like a loop, but the earthworks are the main highlight of the trail. Are trenches that were built by the retreating Confederate Army after the Battle of Shiloh, in which they were defeated by General Grant's Union forces. Then as they were retreating back to Corinth, they kind of dug in some trenches down here for lines of defense. But this was abandoned in May of 1862 by the Confederates, which the Union Army took over. And then in October of 1862, the Unions held the trenches and were able to defeat the Confederates in Corinth, around this area, and also in the main city of Corinth. I had a little problems finding the trailhead this morning. I was using my All Trails app, and it took me to downtown, like not close to downtown Corinth, in like a little trail, a little park, and that was not where I needed to be. I'm not sure why. So if you're looking to find this place, this is off of North Polk Street, and you'll see a sign. That's where you need to be. Don't follow. If you use the All Trails app, it's taking you to like a little close to the Civil War Interpretive Center, a little railroad park, and tells you and it does have some Civil War history there, but that is not where you need to be. This is a little bit north of the city of Corinth, so you don't even have to go into the main city. The cicadas are out in force today. I was thinking about playing with my shooting style. I've been thinking about how I can like increase viewership or retain viewership, because just making these videos are fun. I enjoy it. It's kind of turning into like a little passion, a hobby of passion for me. But you know, you'd be lying if you didn't say in the back of your mind you'd think about viewership and stuff. So I was thinking about maybe doing some cinematic shots, but I probably will not do it today. Probably will just stay with the first person point of view. But in the future, you may start seeing some cinematic shots come into play. I don't know about vlogging because I got a camera on a gimbal and it's really hard to vlog. I would have to take the camera off the gimbal and point towards my face. I don't know if it's really worth it. So far, like I said, this trail, the Confederate Siege Line Trails, is basically old dirt roads through here. And so far it's really nice. It's got an easy rating, as you can tell from the sign back there. Easy rating. Just kind of like a little walk through the woods here. But very historical trail. Since I've done the Shiloh Monument hike at Shiloh National Park, I thought this would be kind of neat to kind of tie it into that, since I was talking about the defeat of the Confederates at Shiloh, and this is where they were coming in their retreat. And also this area that we hope to get to did help the Union Army defeat the Confederates in later of 1862, when had them help the Union Army in October of 1862 repel the Confederate attack and finally defeat them in Corinth. Now, if you don't know where Corinth, Mississippi is, it's in North Mississippi. It's a town of today about 15,000 people. Actually, I think they may have been more people, or the same amount of people back in the 1860s in Corinth as they are today. Now, about 15,000, but it's a very historical town. Got a lot of old, like, Civil War era homes. It's a railroad town, especially back in the 1860s. But even so, today there's still active rail traffic going through the town. But especially back in the day, there was a lot of, and it was a key point in the Civil War in the Western Theater. I think I've read about 300,000 troops between both sides traveled through Corinth in the battles taking place at Shiloh and down here. So this was a very heavily contested area, and when the Union Army was able to finally defeat the Confederates out of Corinth, it really did, they blocked the rail line, had control of it, and really, damaged the Confederate efforts in the western part of the Civil War. And after that, they could kind of really just help their causes and kind of focus their troops elsewhere after they had full control of this area. So far, it's just a mixture of some pines and other hardwood trees and dirt and gravel path, which what I was expecting. They say about a mile into the hike, the earthworks is the little shoot off of the earthworks, and we're going to try to get down there, and then it loops back on a nature trail. As always, on this channel, you will see every step of the hike. Not sure if that's a positive or negative yet. No, just as I was talking about earlier, I was thinking about, playing with the formula just a little bit, just to try to create a little bit of diversity of shots and everything. Give you a little bit more entertainment and just as in Shiloh, there are some biting flies, so I would recommend bug spray. And just, I would like to just tell a little story before we get to the earthworks, the siege line. Just like to tell a little story about the Battle of Shiloh that I forgot to mention in my last video series at the battlefield. The Battle of Shiloh, it raged for 2 days, April 6th, April 7th of 1862. But as I explained earlier, there's a lot of soldiers would wash their wounds off in the bloody pond, and also, you know, a lot of men lay injured on the battlefield for both of those days. If you got injured on the April the 6th, there was reports of people laying injured until after the battle on April 6th and 7th, you know, for 2 days laying there out on the battlefield as injured, you know, slowly bleeding. And then there's those reports of men washing their wounds off in the bloody pond, turning that little pond blood red. Well, anyway, what was interesting, aside from that, one second, we're here at our first little creek crossing right here, little ditch right there. You can see down there, pretty grown up, this little retaining pool of water. And same on the other side. The other side's a little bit murky. But anyway, talking about men laying on the battlefields for 2 days injured, washing our wounds off in the pond. Now, when the Confederates did retreat from Corinth, you can see through the trees, when they did retreat from Shiloh, back to Corinth, they did build like little trenches here in this little park. And as you can see, the grayish tone of the water down there, if you can get a decent view, the gray tone, they would drink water, probably the same color as you see right now. They would drink this water, and you know, a lot of like waterborne illnesses and stuff, they did fall sick to that. They didn't have any filtering back in the day, and it's not the cleanest water system, but they would drink this water. As you can see on the left and right, a lot got waterborne illnesses from having bacteria and viruses in the water. Or not viruses, but organisms in the water. Okay, I'm just going to take a quick break. I think that is where I need to go to see the earthworks. I'm going to take a quick break and I'll pick back up. Okay, I'm picking back up. I believe that right there is going to be the nature trail. I don't want to get on the nature trail just yet. So we should be going straight in a clockwise direction. It should take you around. And the nature trail and the Civil War trail should meet together and then go to the earthworks. I'm glad I really took a picture of the map at the beginning. If you come out here, do pay attention to the map at the beginning and kind of take a picture of it. But just to finish my thought about the water sources around here, even to this day, are still kind of like that, as you can see back there, kind of that murky gray almost. So this wasn't a very good water source for the Confederate Army that retreating back from Shiloh. And so there was a lot of, waterborne illnesses and stuff from drinking dirty water or bad water. Now, finished my thought earlier. The men were washing out their wounds in the bloody pond and laying on the battlefield Well, there was like stories of the men on the battlefield, wounded, or the wounded soldiers that retreated back, or either the Union that stayed there. There are stories of them noticing that their wounds were glowing blue. Especially, look down, like especially at night, look down, and their wounds would be like glowing this faint, soft blue color. And no one knew what that was. And it was later discovered, I think, by a college student who was doing some research on it. And what it was is that they had some like college students and professors come out to Shiloh area and was taking like water samples and stuff like that, and soil samples, and they discovered little nematodes. The nematodes can live in like fresh water, and also in wet soil, like water pockets in soil. So you had the men washing out their wounds out of the bloody pond area. You had them laying on the battlefield, sometimes up to 2 days. On the soil. So the nematodes, got into their wounds, and that's what called the light blue fluorescent glowing of the wounds was the nematodes. It was just really, really interesting. I could just imagine, either laying wounded or, just sitting around the campsite on the battlefield, taking care of your wounds, and noticing that they were glowing blue. And it must have been quite the experience for those soldiers to notice that. This is a nice trail. Very, very much a nature walk. It's about 80 degrees right now, a little over 80, between 80 and 83 degrees. But as it is in the southeast, very hot and humid. But the surrounding woods is alive with birds and cicadas. I did spray bug spray on my legs up to my knees because I'm wearing shorts. I need to invest in some hiking pants, but hoping they'll keep any like ticks away. It's a very well maintained trail, but there is some little patches of grass growing on the trail, and ticks love to climb on that and get on you. So, but I'm hoping the bug spray I did spray will keep the ticks off of my legs. But the worst thing right now is the biting flies. They're just not fun. They're flying around my head and everything. So definitely bring bug spray. Pretty little walk though through here so far. Really enjoying this. And this is a very, I don't know how the usual traffic is for this trail. I was the only one in the trailhead, and haven't seen a soul since I've left. Oh, right here, it's a little bench. I think it's kind of, I'm not sure if it's a real bench or just, it looks like it's in disarray right now. But I think at one time that was a bench you could sit down and stuff. Right now, but it's not in great shape. I hear the wildlife, like birds and insects, off into the woods, and just kind of eerie. It feels like you're being followed out here. Wish I could have brought a dog out here. This is dog friendly, but they have to be on a leash. Compared to the Shiloh Battlefield National Park in Shiloh, Tennessee, this part of the park in north of Corinth, it's very desolate. It really is. I like the solitude, but at the same time, it's like when you hear the sounds of the woods and the forest, it just feels like, some animals like following you or something. You just kind of get that vibe. But not bad at all. Also, this is a biking trail, so you can bring your bike out here and bike around this Civil War nature loop. If you see me like stopping the footage for like 2 or 3 seconds, it's just me checking my legs for any ticks or anything like that. Coming back into a shaded area. The humidity is less right here. It feels pretty good right here. I'll probably be taking a break here in a moment just to gear up on some water and everything. But hoping the earthworks is not much further around here. I said it was 1.8 miles out. The sign did from the trailhead going clockwise. We're still on the Civil War trail. The Civil War portion of the Confederate siege lines trail. Okay, see if we can just make our way over here for a second. I'm not going to climb down through the brush, but down there, another example of the water source that the Confederate Army, when they were retreating from Shiloh, were drinking. It's kind of got algae on the top. It's just a murky gray color, and it's still water. It just reminds me of like a breeding ground for mosquitoes. But so definitely. You want to bring the bug spray, mosquitoes. It's been about 8. I haven't seen that many mosquitoes, but I can imagine if you come out here earlier or a little bit later in the evening, it can be bad. Oh, there is a pond over there. It looks like. But the trees are so grown up, I can't really get a good shot of it. But it's the same murky gray color and everything, and just standing water. I'm really glad that they're just kind of letting nature be on this. You know, looks like they do come out and mow the trail part, but looks like they're just letting nature be. Out here, kind of like representative of how the terrain was back in the 1860s when the battle was here. Okay, I don't know if you can see through the pine thicket there. There's the little pond I'm talking about. I don't want to tromp down through there because this is history. You do want to stay on the marked trail. You know, just making shortcuts through the woods or something. You know, you don't want to damage what's already here. And like I said, it's very representative of how this looked back in 1862. Okay. We're going to come around this corner here, and I'm going to there may not be any natural edit points on this little video series. Hoping to get at least two videos out of it. but we'll just have to wait and see here. Yeah, I do smell I smell standing water. Almost smells like catfish, dead catfish or something. But, okay, if we can come out here, if I can get you up there. This is probably the best shot I'll get. Through those trees. Ooh, there's a big old crane out there. That was awesome. Don't know if you'll be able to see it. I barely caught it myself, but that murky gray water, it's just like a standing bog. It just, the water just, it's not really moving that you can see on top. Okay, watch, there's a bird, the crane landing in the trees. I don't know if you saw that, in the trees. Oh, I hope it comes out. I wish I had a zoom lens. Picking back up here on the Confederate siege lines trails in Corinth, Mississippi. I don't know if you can see it or not. Probably not. But across the way, at the end of the last video clip, we were looking for a crane that flew up in the tree. It's so well camouflaged. I got my iPhone out, try to zoom in, but not really seeing anything with my iPhone. It's just so well camouflaged. I don't know if it's still up there in that pine tree. You flip it into a pine tree up there across the way. But I saw, and while I put my iPhone up, I saw another like a hawk or something fly through there as well. So there's a lot of bird life right here. And I don't know if you can see a little bit better shot. Try to get that up with the water, the murky water that the Civil War troops were drinking back in around this area, back in between May and October of 1862. Just that murky brown, almost swamp water. Now the brownness could be not as much of a murky gray anymore, but the brown could be part of like tannin, I believe, like a plant decomposition. Produces like, I think it's tannin. It makes it kind of like a brown black color. Kind of happens in like swampy areas, kind of like this. Back up on the trail here. This may be my second part of my video. Not deciding yet. Anyway, I'll break it up with like either text or intro cards at the beginning. Here's some frogs as well. Revenge of the flies. One just flew in my ear. Cicadas going off around me. Okay, I'll give you one last shot of the pond here. Might be a little bit better, you can see. I don't really see any birds or anything anymore, so we'll head on. Okay, here's another point. I think we go left. There's the right location, towards the right. This is the left. Not quite sure. Ooh, a cool butterfly. See if we can get this on camera. No. But let me just check my map here, and we'll pick back up here in a moment when we find out which way to go. All right, we're back here where I came up. I came up from there, and I was thinking that was the way to the earthworks. That's the way to the parking lot. I missed the earthworks turn off somewhere. So I believe this is the trail I came in on at the beginning. So there's a turn off up here. I come around, I've already done the nature trail back on the Civil War trail, so we're gonna go down here just a little bit longer and see if we can find it. If not, we may just have to tally this up as a hiking fail. But that way I know how to get out of here now. So, but I want to find these trenches, the wooden platforms in the trenches. So we're going to, I believe, come in, retrace our steps a little bit on the same trail. Crazy, just there's no, like, at least like a wood sign or, you know, something to say trench line with the arrow. But so walk back down here for about a half mile, then if we don't see it, we're just going to chalk this up to being having not very good instructions and directions. But we did get to see some pretty wildlife with the crane and the hawk. I didn't really capture, I don't think I captured those on video, but I got sounds of nature out here as well. But I'd be really disappointed if I don't get out there to the wood observation decks. But I was gonna check in with you. I'm not gonna film right here. I'm gonna film if I find that. If not, thank you for watching another episode of Hikes and Walks. But hopefully we'll have more of a payoff for you here with those the trenches in the woods. Thank you so much.